One of the biggest mysteries in Power Rangers has been the identity of the Phantom Ranger. There have been many kind of speculations, rumors, theories going around. One of the biggest ones was the identity. Who was it? Some people said that it was Zordon, but the biggest one that I have known in the entire community since I have been a fan of Power Rangers has been that Billy is the Phantom Ranger. And, people were diving in, going for everything that they could do. But Once and Always has now actually kind of debunked one of the biggest theories, and I'm going to talk about it just now. But before we do, we need to look a little bit back at the Phantom Ranger. And I feel like there is a ton of history. Now, I'm not going by the comics because the comics are very separate from the actual TV show. So I know that they've talked about that, but this is talking mainly about Power Rangers Turbo and the Phantom Ranger. When I was looking into this, I generally thought the Phantom Ranger was actually in it for pretty much more episodes than most. I thought that he was in it for pretty much most of the season, but I think he's only in it for like 12 episodes, which to me, I'm very, very, very shocked. And obviously he is in space as well, but I generally kind of thought that he was there for most of the time, but alas, no, he wasn't. But let's talk about the Phantom Ranger. The Phantom Ranger first arrived on Earth in a spaceship, landing in the woods of Angel Grove. He prevented Elgar and his group from stealing from a bank and a gold mine, as he spent most of his time invisible. No one, with the exception of Cassie, could spot the Phantom properly. After rescuing the Turbo Rangers from trouble, Pink Ranger asked who was the Phantom Ranger, and he replied with a friend, before disappearing. From that point on, the Phantom Ranger appeared to be fond of Cassie, though perhaps not in the same way she was fond on him. He was able to prevent his ship from being destroyed by Divatox torpedoes and save Justin's friend Nico in the process. When the danger had passed, the Phantom Ranger departed in his spaceship, giving the Rangers the impression he had left for good. Although the Phantom Ranger had taken off in his spaceship, he did not necessarily leave Angel Grove. He continued to help when he was needed, such as fighting Translocor, I think I said his name right. He even gave the Rangers their new rescue Zords after losing the Turbo Zords to Divatox and General Havoc. I'm not going to go too much into detail about the fall of the Phantom Ranger, but let's talk about him in Power Rangers in Space. After the news that Zordon had been captured, the Phantom Ranger had been searching for Zordon. Now, I can't say the name right for this planet, but he was on the planet Heracon and watched as Divatox and the Piranatrons custody of Zordon. The Phantom Ranger sent a message of Zordon's location to the Space Rangers and was later intercepted by Divatox. The Piranatrons tried to attack him, but the Phantom Ranger hardly used his Phantom Laser to blast the emergency message into space to the Space Rangers that they later intercepted by the Astro Megaship. Some of that sentence didn't make any sense. Well, it did, but it's just kind of worded differently. So obviously he's still fighting around and he's still kind of helping out the Rangers. He leaves a message for the Rangers when they find him. So Cassie finds the message, a holographic one, and actually turns around and plays it, which then says that he is going to go off and find like Zordon and stuff like that. So it's his search for it. It's kind of interesting because you kind of think that he maybe have found him a lot quicker because Zordon probably would have emitted an energy that no one else would have. So the last time that we saw the Phantom Ranger was that he was with Blue Centurion going against the monsters of the Machine Empire in Countdown to Destruction, basically where most of the Rangers got their ass handed to them because literally every single monster turns around and goes, do you know what? Let's work together. And what does that do? It absolutely destroys the Rangers and they can't really fight against stuff. I don't know where all the other Rangers were at this time. You'd think that they would be there rather than just letting all of this kind of slide. So how did Once and Always debunk this straight away? And it's very, very simple. When Rita's actually putting all the Rangers together, you see her put Tanya onto the actual device to start draining her powers. And right next to it is the Phantom Ranger. Now, if Billy still had the Phantom powers and was able to morph, he could have done it in Once and Always. But with this figure being onto the side right there, so we can see it, and it's not hidden like it's a very hard Easter egg. It is literally right there for you to see, which you can probably see on screen right now. Pretty much shows that Billy wasn't the Phantom Ranger. The Phantom Ranger has been caught and was having his powers drained by this machine. And I kind of like this because it was like a massive big Easter egg, throwing back to the time when everyone has been talking about this. So I like the fact that Once and Always literally looked at this and went, hey, we're going to change this. We're going to kind of dispel all these rumors right now. And I find that fascinating. I really, really like that they put this in there. And it felt like maybe it was their way of saying, yeah, we need to kind of get rid of this rumor. We need to kind of debunk this right now. So I'm really kind of glad that they did. Now, my question to you is, did you think that the Phantom Ranger was Billy? Did you think that Billy would have been the Phantom Ranger? And I will say that there were plans on making, for Billy to be the Phantom Ranger, but they didn't have enough time to kind of make this happen. And it's kind of a cool thing. Like, I kind of probably wanted to see Billy come back, but again, it never happened. So what are your thoughts on this? Would you have liked Billy to be the Phantom Ranger? Let me know down below in those comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you want to help support the channel, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on all notifications. And if you want to check out the channel memberships, that would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help does go a long way to support the channel. And if you want to consider helping the channel, then links to my Patreon as well as the channel members are listed below.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。